Dreamland BBQ. Dreamland BBQ. Dine in, carry out, or cater with your local Dreamland, especially Tuscaloosa and Northport. I'm telling you, there ain't nothing like them nowhere. But if you happen to be outside of the Tuscaloosa and Northport area, there are some Dreamlands around the southeast. Go to dreamlandbbq.com and you'll be able to find out those locations. And if you happen to be outside of those local markets, then you need to have them ship those ribs right to your front door. Go to dreamlandbbq.com and find out how you can get more of these items. I mean, ribs, sauce, apparel, and so much more. That's dreamlandbbq.com. Ain't nothing like them nowhere. All right. Hey, ladies, we did take just a few minutes. First of all, welcome in, and I hope you guys are up and at 'em on this beautiful Wednesday morning. A little rainy, especially when it's rain, you want to stay in the bed. But definitely have an opportunity to watch Bama drop another tough one, and a lot going on there with the team, and kind of feel bad for Nate Oates. And you guys probably heard my rant about the Alabama fans being two-faced, because we'll give. Think about that. We give Nick Saban excuses when he has like the best recruits ever if key players get hurt, but we're saying, Nate Oates, you need to get us to the tournament. I don't know if we're going to get to the tournament or not, but hopefully we will. Any thoughts on the game last night from your viewpoint?
You're right. We have so many injuries right now that he's playing with what 6 or 7 rotation, and you have players like Kyle playing 38 minutes a game.
So obviously,
We have more mistakes done, but that's gonna be fixed. Like we're still making way too many turnovers and just not giving our best effort. I don't know if they're getting tired or what's happening, but it's really disappointing. Keep blowing a 15-point lead.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we are getting up by 15, and so we're not finishing. And the question is, are we not finishing because we're tired?
Well, prior to yesterday's game, I still had a lot of hope and faith in that team, and I thought, what, we will definitely make the tournament. We just gotta, win by a significant amount for the next few games. But then after what I saw last night, I don't really know if we're gonna make it now.
I don't know if we're gonna make it now, but last night didn't change my mind about this team as much because having been out there in that field and that arena, I don't think the guys aren't trying. I just think when you lose a guy like Herb Jones, and I keep hearing people say stuff like, well, Herb's not a scorer. He doesn't have to be a scorer. Herb Jones is worth 20 plus points a game. Herb Jones will take 2 charges a game, which is generally, most of the time he takes a charge, it's a layup that goes in, that comes off the board. So that's 4 points. And then he D's up his guy, and he knocks his guy. I would love to see what his average is of keeping guys from scoring. Like if a guy averages 15, does he average 10 against Herb? Because you can add those points directly to Herb's contribution. And it's not just that. It's how far do you drop off and how fluid and how much chemistry do you have. So I'm not ready to give up on the team until I see whether if Herb gets back the last 6 games and they can make a run down the stretch, they still have an outside chance of what they say, a puncher's chance when it comes to boxing, because until the whistle blows, a puncher can always knock you out. But I don't like our chances as much, but I'm not down on the team. It's just that unfortunate set of circumstances for a first-year coach with not a lot of depth or a lot of scholarship players. But I think we got the right guy sitting on the end of the bench in Nate Oates. I'm excited about what he can do once he gets a full roster of players. Let's transition over to National Signing Day. That's one of the negatives about being a 6 o'clock guy. You have to come in and make. Everybody else by 9 o'clock. Everybody gets news. We don't ever get to break news, but every once in a while. But National Signing Day is here. There's a couple guys scheduled to make their announcements this morning. A lot of them going to make it later on in the day, but Alabama looking to try to win, try to get that number 1 composite ranking. It's important, and let me tell you why it's important. The Jimmies and Joes, if the X's and O's are close, the Jimmies and Joes are the ones that's going to make the difference. And for the second year in a row. Alabama's trying to win it for the second year in a row. Currently, with the way they do the rankings, Alabama's number 2 with 310.93 points, and that's just behind Georgia at 312.22. The one guy you don't want to lose this to is Kirby Smart. But Wimp Sanderson told us yesterday, Georgia, to get to that ranking, spent an additional $1 million over what they spent last year in recruiting. Tell me recruiting doesn't matter.
Well, let me tell you, Mark, it does matter, and more than it matters, there's a direct line where Alabama can take this number 1 class from Georgia. And that's Cedric Von Braun, who's on flip watch right now. He's committed to Georgia. I think if we get him from Georgia, that immediately flips that composite rating, and we go to number 1.
Yeah, and Cedric Von, let me say it right. Cedric Von Prawn, currently committed to Georgia. He's from New Orleans. Young man, 4-star Georgia commit. He's expected to make an announcement at 10 a.m. It didn't put Central Standard or Eastern Time, so I'm not sure which one it is. He's already committed to Georgia, but Alabama and Florida still in the mix. And the door was cracked open when Van Pran opted not to sign early despite already being committed. And that's what you have to look at, is this young man was committed to Georgia, or was he? Because he did not sign that letter of intent. And it's a center position, a position that we will have. We don't have it for this year, but next year we'll be losing a 2-year starter at center. So that would be huge. And as you say, it's a direct line to flipping this composite ranking.
Yeah, I mean, at 6'4", 305, he is a force at that center position. Somebody that I'm sure Nick Saban is really excited and would really like to have on the interior of that line.
Yeah, and that makes you wonder, who is Alabama not going to sign? I mean, you have to look and go, okay, there's Javon Baker, who was committed to Alabama but didn't sign. Jamil Burrow committed to Alabama but didn't sign. But that's wide receiver, D tackle. Enos Rakestraw was not committed. He was a late jump in. McKinley Jackson, we need to knock him down, and we get him, it's going to be close either way. Damian George, offensive tackle. That's an interesting one. He's a kid from Houston. They believe that we offered him. He's a teammate with Zach Evans, who was the #1 running back in the country. This kid's like 6'8", 360 pounds, and he's 16 years old. So it's still growing. Jason Jones is the one that I think that he's out of here. I just don't see him sticking with the class. They've offered him a blue shirt, which means that he will be a part of next year's class. But he doesn't have the number. And then Alfred Collins, the strong side defensive end. So that's a lot of people to fit in like 3 spots. So the question becomes, who the Rakestraw, I know they want him, but will they offer him a blue shirt as well? So it's going to be interesting to see in terms of the recruitment. Let's get to Super Joe, and then I'll get you ladies to come in as well. Super Joe, you in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, man?
Martin, how you coming in hot now?
I'm feeling great. You?
I was getting my recruiting form off today, going good, National Science Day. I tell you what, I always think I work National Science Day. That's how that is.
I know, Super Joe. That in opening, right? That in the season opener.
So what I got to do now, I got to write down who's on the offense, who's on defense, who I want on Alabama fan day. I got to write down. I see one thing with me, I always like to see me recruit and get on double autographs on the kids because I always go after the fresh. That's what I was doing. That's what I was doing on Alabama fan day. Because catch them before they get famous. Guess what, man? They autograph the worst stuff. I don't get away till they get famous, till they start position. I just catch them before they get start position. That way, by the time they start one day, I think, you know what? I got to autograph them even fresh. And it hires the really just pays off.
All right.
Yeah, a lot of dudes got the attitude because, well, he ain't gonna start, he ain't worth no autograph for me. But see, that's where you go wrong. Because when you sit up there, I learned a little quick lesson my first day of fan day. I try to get an age, what's in Greg McElroy was off the line. But just maybe 105. Okay, then the back level, once I got 8 in the steering wheel autograph, I'll let the third person land. And by the time I got to go grab, got it, and I was good at home. But I said, that's good. Roll tide, got an autograph, but I now learned my lesson. I just get them before they get famous. And ever since then, I've been doing that.
All right. Who you going after this year, Super Joe?
Oh, I gotta go. I'm going after that quarterback. That for sure.
Well, Bryce Young is already famous. Bryce Young will have the longest line at Fan Day. You know that, right? Yeah, I'm gonna say you better go catch him right now while he's walking around campus and stuff. Because if you wait until Fan Day to get his autograph, you're gonna be in a long line. Have you ladies? Have y'all ran into Bryce Young or seen any of the hoopla around him?
Not yet.
If y'all do, get us an interview. Keep your phones ready. Super Joe, don't get in trouble going on campus, man. Hey. All right. Well, hey, Super Joe, I got to get out of here. Got to get to my next segment, man. What else you got for me? All right, have a good one. Thanks. That's Super Joe. Super Joe hadn't called in a while, but Super Joe gonna call around Fan Day, and he's gonna call around recruiting. So around signing day, and Super Joe is consistent. I promise you. But coming back on the other side, we're gonna continue the conversation. Get some thoughts from the potential of Alabama getting to that #1 class, whether they can get there or not, and which players, even if you don't get to the #1 class, which one of these guys do you really hope Alabama signs, even if it doesn't matter about getting to the #1 class? We're going to talk about that right here on the Martin Houston Show. Remember, Alabama One, Alabama1.org is where you can find out more about the credit union. Hey, it's going to be a great day on this Friday. Opportunity to have a food truck out there. We'll tell you more about that on Friday. I'll remind you again. And in the meantime, when you're at Alabama1.org, check out the transfer balance for the credit cards. Great deals there. And also, if you're looking for wealth advisory, insurance, business loans, commercial loans, consumer loans, auto, home, full gamut of all of your financial needs. You can find that at Alabama One. Alabama One, we're one together.
High 100.9